This is Goku-san, DBZ, and welcome back to part 2 of a list of my personal top 50 favorite TV shows of all time. Like I said, personal preference. But if you didn't see last time, here's a quick recap. Now, on second thought, let's just skip the recap, shall we? And get to it. If you want to know the previous, watch part 1. This is part 2, of course, 25 to number 1. So with that said, coming in at number 25 is, well, as mentioned last time, WWE SmackDown was on the list of 30-something. But for me, coming at number 25 is WWE Raw. I love my sports soap opera. What can I say other than that? Coming at number 24 was a good Disney show I enjoyed growing up as a teenager when this show was on the air. Of course, you have a more modern, sequel series to this. Coming at 24 is Boy Meets World, which, of course, now you have Girl Meets World, which is a sequel about the two main characters from the previous show and their daughter. So, coming at number 23 is a great action series, I will say. I highly recommend, from the 1990s. That was really good. Of course, based off of one, you have the introduction of a character from the movies that makes brief appearances here and there. And that being, of course, Connor McLeod. And this show, though, revolves around his cousin, Duncan McLeod, of the Clan McLeod. Number 23 is Highlander. Coming in at number 22 is a classic series from, was it UPN originally, then the WB. Really good series I highly recommend if you've never seen. Of course, coming at number 22 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Definitely a great series with one of the most hardcore fan bases I've seen of any show of all time. Coming in at number 21 is a show that has a nostalgia factor for me. I was a big fan of the series back when I was a kid / teenager. Coming at number 21 is Sabrina the Teenage Witch, not the new Sabrina Netflix ripoff show, which is absolutely not loyal to the original, though it's not called the Teenage Witch, of course. It's just called Sabrina something. I don't know. Don't care about the new series, frankly. But coming at number 21 is Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Always liked that show, and always got a kick out of the Black Cat Salem. Coming at number 20, also professional wrestling, though it's much more professional overall in my opinion. Coming at number 20 is going on, I believe it's 8th season. And coming in number 20 is NXT, which is by far the best of the 3 shows from WWE in my personal opinion. Especially if you're a fan of things like Ring of Honor and stuff, style, you'll definitely appreciate NXT a lot more. And most of the time, their pay-per-view events, NXT TakeOver, usually end up better than most of the main WWE pay-per-views. Coming at number 19 is, in my opinion, an underrated show that deserves a little more respect than it gets. Coming in at number 19 is the TV series by History Channel, of all networks, Vikings, comes in at number 19. Coming in at number 18, also has nostalgia factor. And that is, coming in number 18, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Surprise, surprise. Coming in at number 17 is another HBO series, which I actually really enjoy a series, which is interesting, given how much I despise other shows involving vampires, but I actually like this one. Coming in at number 17 is the TV series True Blood, with, of course, characters Bill Compton and Suki Stackhouse, and many other interesting characters in the series, of course. Coming in at number 16. Great sci-fi series, and I, to this day, still love occasionally watching this show. At number 16, Star Trek Voyager, with one of, I think, the more underrated captains, Janeway. Coming in at number 15 is more or less, I guess you could say, the Sherlock Holmes of the medical version of Sherlock Holmes is the best way to describe it. Coming in at number 15 is House MD, or just House. Love this series, always did. I love the all the funny, like, sarcastic quips and stuff of House. I just love it, and the fact you really listen to him and stuff, the way he comes to medical stuff, he really is the Sherlock Holmes of doctors, more or less, is the best way to describe the show and the character House. Though, of course, he has a serious addiction to painkillers. But anyways, great series, I highly recommend if you've never seen House. Coming in at number 14, this show's had 6 seasons, kind of nostalgia factor. It's a cheesy, completely over-the-top show, but this is a show that is responsible for my ended up love of mythology, as well as become my obsession over theology, religious studies. And 2 shows are responsible for that. One is my favorite animated show of all time, Gargoyles, and the other is this cheesy show, starring Kevin Sorbo. Hercules: The Legendary Journeys comes in number 14. Coming in at number 13 is a show I'm sure not many people are familiar with. Just kidding, a lot of you have probably seen the show, definitely. And number 13 is Doctor Who. And I'm basing it more or less on the more up-to-date. To be fair, at one time Doctor Who probably might have ended up in my top 10, but I'm just not a big fan of the current Doctor. Just me. But for me, the reason why the show still remains this high on my list, top 50 of all-time favorite shows, mainly because of David Tennant, Matt Smith, and of course Peter, the 12th Doctor, which I would say is probably my second favorite Doctor is Peter. Matt Smith is kind of back and forth between 3rd and 4th place with the 4th Doctor. For me personally, that is William Baker. Pretty much, him and Matt Smith go back and forth. But anyways, coming in at number 12 is a series you should be very familiar with, and I was wearing a shirt of it last video. Coming in at number 12 is the series originally starred on WB/The CW. Coming in at number 12 is Supernatural. Comes in at number 12. This show has gradually over time just gone higher and higher on my list. And we'll see if it can go any higher, but still, being my 12th favorite TV show in general of all time, pretty impressive. And yeah, the show has gradually over time just gone higher and higher on my list. Coming in at number 11 is a show, if you grew up, were either a teenager or young adult in the early to mid 2000s, you're definitely going to be more than familiar with this series. It had 4 seasons, though they tried to reboot it. Unfortunately, it got canceled. Right at the end, it didn't even get all the 16 episodes released. But coming at number 11 favorite TV show of all time for me personally, it's a show I argue has probably the best first season of any TV show ever. Coming at 11 is Heroes from NBC. And of course, as the used to always say, save the cheerleader, save the world. Always liked it, and I love the villain Sylar. Definitely one of my favorite TV villains of all time. Liked characters like Peter Petrelli. Of course, I specifically like Hero, of course, which is the one who has the ability to time travel and teleport. Pretty nice abilities. though it started going downhill for me. Season 2, I still say, was a really solid overall season. To me, Season 3 was the weakest of the 4. I liked Season 4 a little more than I liked Season 3, but that's just me, and I like the villain in Season 4, is one of the other reasons. Coming in at number 10, welcome to the top 10 now of the Elites. At 10 was a series that spanned 5 seasons, though really, I prefer only treating the show as 4 seasons and forget about the 5th and final season. Coming in at number 10 is the sci-fi series Sliders, which will always be probably one of my top 10 favorite shows of all time, and I never see it dropping out. I just love the show. It has nostalgia factor, and in general, the whole concept of course, dimensional physics, theoretical science. Always have, like, the whole theory of parallel dimensions. Coming at number 9 is a sci-fi series that is still going to this, it's technically science fiction, but it's on the History Channel. And the show is up to, like, season 15, 16, I'm not even sure now how many seasons, but I love it nevertheless. Coming at number 9 favorite show of all time, Ancient Aliens, which is a really good series, and I can't say anything negative about Ancient Aliens, it's fascinating. Coming in at number 8, with 7 seasons total, and this is my favorite of all the Star Trek shows. Coming at number 8 is Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Now, coming in at number 7, some people might be surprised this show is so high up on my personal favorite list of all time. But, well, to each their own. Coming in number 7 for me is a show with 5 seasons total. I enjoyed on WB/CW. And that being Angel comes in 7th place. Hands down, pretty much just about my favorite supernatural themed show of all time, more or less. Coming in at number 6. With 8 seasons and a crappy reboot, in my personal opinion. Coming in at number 6 is a show I still remain loyal to this day. It's the only supernatural themed overall show that is higher, of course, than Angel. Coming at number 6 is the TV series Charmed. And I will always be a Charmed fan. I do not like the reboot at all. I think it's total and complete utter crap. That's my own personal opinion. And I'm a very biased person when it comes to my opinion on shows, movies, and video games. And music. That's just me. But most people are, if they're really going to be honest with themselves. Everyone's biased in their own way. Coming in at number 5 is it's definitely the newest addition to my top 10 list. Easily. Coming in number 5 is a show with only 5 seasons, and unfortunately the series has ended. It is my number 2 favorite comic book show of all time. Well, comic book based on somewhat comic book, but not really. But anyways, coming in at number 5 is the series Gotham, which deserves a lot more respect than it gets. I mean, it's way ahead of any of the CW comic book shows. In my personal opinion, I think Arrow is the best of all of them, but I'm not a fan of The Flash. Sorry, I just don't like the show at all. I don't like Legends of Tomorrow. I could care less about the Batwoman show. I just don't give a crap, frankly. I like Gotham. I like the theme, the whole more revolving around James Gordon, and not to mention, the actor they chose to play Penguin stole the show, in my opinion, though I really also like their casting choice that they had as Edward Nygma. And what else can I say about a certain young actor who ended up becoming Jerome, or whatever you want to call him, Mr. J. Obviously the precursor, younger version of the Joker. Well, the first brother, technically not. Spoiler alert. But the series is great, and they had nothing but good overall talent to show, and I loved it. I love the whole feel of a crime drama series, is what I liked about it. Coming in at number 4 is, in my opinion, one of the most criminally underrated shows of all time. It is by far the most underrated show on my favorites list. Number 4 favorite show of all time. It's my number 1 favorite crime drama show of all time. There's a lot of great comedy. It can be campy, and I'm sure most of you that watch this video have probably never even heard of the series. Coming in number 4 is a series called Due South. Mainly season 1 and 2. Season 3 I didn't care as much for, but still overall I love the show. The fact, in the future, I might even do an actual series review on the 42 episodes of the series. But, coming in number 4 is Due South, which only had, like I said, 3 seasons, unfortunately. It's awesome, though, about a Mountie and his deaf wolf, Diefenbaker. Coming in at number 3 is my number 1 favorite comic book show of all time, done by WB. And it is Smallville. My number 3 favorite TV show of all time goes to Smallville. What else can I say other than Smallville killed it? And Smallville really helped the career of a younger actor in season 4 and would end up becoming one of the main, of course, characters specifically would become known in Supernatural for the role of Dean Winchester. Trust me when I say, if you never watched Smallville or didn't realize the guy who played Dean Winchester was in season 4 of Smallville, check it out. It's interesting, and you can watch Smallville, all 10 seasons, on Hulu as well. Just a fun little fact. Coming in at number 2, my all-time favorite sci-fi series. Coming in at number 2, Farscape. It is and will always be my favorite science fiction show no matter what. And I love the puppets and everything from the Jim Henson studio in the series. It's superb, well done, and well executed. And I think it's aged a lot better than a lot of other sci-fi shows have from the late 90s, early 2000s. Coming at number 1 favorite show of all time, from HBO. And unfortunately, it just ended with a somewhat controversial season 8. Coming in at number 1, Game of Thrones. Just wanted to do that, but yes. Number 1 favorite TV show of all time is, and I don't see any time in the future surpassing Game of Thrones. So, with that said, I'll see y'all next time for Comic Book Pickups. See you then. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel, and I hope you enjoyed the music in the background from Battle Arena to Shinden on the PS1 and Sega Saturn. Anyway, see you next time.